Hello, my name is Hiram Todd, and my fellow groupmates are Colin Steele and Jared Goff. Our presentation is on the target breach that took place on November of 2013. And this was a breach that resulted in the loss of 40 million credit cards being compromised. The attack reached nearly across 2,000 Target stores. It was found that the point of sales, the POS systems, was the point at which the data was stolen. Target did later change the numbers to include the customers that had data stolen other than the credit card numbers, and that raised the total of number of customers affected to about 70 million. In this report, we will look at why the securities that Target had in places failed. The areas that we will talk about are email and training, network segmentation, default usernames and passwords, heating warnings, and encryption at the POS. We will then offer recommendations for what our company will need to implement in order to keep our company and customers we serve safe. And then I will go ahead and pass on the security failure section on to Colin. And then after that, Jared will talk about recommendations for our company. Go ahead, Colin.
I'm going to talk for a minute about security failures happened at Target that led up to the breach. And I'm going to talk about 5 different areas. The first area will be email security and training. Second, network segmentation, default username and password, heating warnings, and encryption at point of sale. First of all, let's talk about email security and training. The breach started with an email that had a phishing malware attached to it, and this was sent to one of their vendors, an HVAC company, and that malware was then downloaded and installed on the computer. And at the time, this company did not have an active scanning malware. They had a free version that they could run at any time, but it wasn't actively scanning. And because of this and the lack of training by the employees, the phishing malware was able to identify and steal the necessary information to get into Target. The next section is networks segmentation. Now, the vendor again got through into the network through the HVAC company, and they were able to travel from that area of the network to the point of sale and then to the FTP site to dump the data and to an external computer. So there wasn't segmentation in place, or not good enough segmentation to keep them from going from one area of the network to the next. Third, default usernames and passwords. BMC Performance Assurance for Microsoft servers was being used, and at the time that it was set up, the username and password were left at the default, and so the attackers were able to get into the system through that username and default username and password. Now, during this whole time, they had a active system that was scanning and watching the system, watching their computer system and network to make sure that there was no attacks happening, and it was working very well. It's called FireEye, and it was sending them warnings and telling them that there was a problem, but their security team failed to heed those warnings. If you have tools, you got to use them, and they failed to do that. And even when the security team finally realized that they didn't, they sent the warnings to headquarters, and headquarters ignored them. So they had the necessary warnings in place to be able to find the problem and to eliminate it, but they didn't. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is encryption at the point of sale. Now, when a card is swiped on a machine, at Target at this time, they had they took that data from the card and saved it in memory, unencrypted. And the malware that was placed in the system at Target was able to get to that memory and take that data and dump it to an external site. So it's important for a company to have credit card information encrypted at the keypad. So it's never put in memory and it's never accessible in any form but encrypted form.
Thanks, Colin. My name is Jared Goff. I'm going to be doing the recommendations for our company. We're going to start off with the next generation firewall, security endpoints, PCI chip credit card machines, network segmentation, network monitoring service, employee separation of duties. So to start off, there's the next generation firewall. We want to have advanced threat protection. Advanced threat protection is a security solution that defends against sophisticated malware or hacking-based attacks targeting sensitive data. We also want to implement access rules, implement policies to approve and remove rules by the security operation team. After the installation and configuration, we want to documentate a baseline so we know when things have been removed or added in accordance to our baseline. Second, we want to implement security endpoints on all workstations and point-of-sale systems. These security endpoints will have tampering alerts so that the endpoints cannot be disabled. Centralized management consoles so administrators can easily see all of the endpoints and their status. Alerts to be sent to administrators in event of malfunction. And we also want to know that the endpoints are online and protecting our devices. PCI chip credit card machines. Enforcement of the PCI standards, EMV credit card systems, and pin-and-chip, and use of a credit card processor. PCI means payment card industry. It is a set of security standards designed to ensure that all companies that accept, process, store, or transmit credit card information maintains a secure environment. Network segmentation. For our point of sales networks, we want to create a VLAN, which is a virtual area network, virtual local area network. This will isolate POS network traffic from other networks and keep it secure. We want to implement a network monitoring service. The network monitoring service will create sensors that will monitor network traffic and a wide range of devices and systems, and if it discovers unusual metrics, it will alert our administrators via email or text message, or even you can even have a API that will write our own scripts for alerts. The last is employee separation of duties. Monitoring network traffic and reviewing logs is a tedious job, and we find and recommend that if one employee is doing this job day after day, that things will be missed. Therefore, rotating on a acceptable time frame with other employees, this will achieve a much better response to an infection or an attack if one happens. Thank you. And on to the conclusion will be Hiram Todd.
This is Hiram again. So in conclusion, the next generation firewall, security endpoints, PCI chip credit machines, network segmentation, network monitor service or software, and employee separation of duties are essential to the security of our network and the future of our company. If we learn from what happened to Target and add the recommendation in these areas listed, our company will be better at defending itself against attacks. In summary, Target suffered a breach of their network in November 2013. The result of the breach was 70 million people's private information exposed to hackers and to whoever wants to use this kind of information. The attackers that breached Target's point of sale systems were slow and deliberate at their craft of stealing sensitive information from Target. Target missed warnings that were sent from network monitoring company called FireEye. This was a company that monitored the traffic that was coming from Target's network and informed the IT personnel and senior management that there could be a breach. This report shows 5 areas where security failed at Target. These areas are email security and training, network segmentations, default usernames and passwords, heat warnings, and encryption at POS. Today, with the persistence, threats, attackers, we recommend the following 6 things to be implemented so a similar thing doesn't happen to our company. And that's what we had listed before: next generation firewall, security endpoints, PCI chip credit machines, network segmentation, network monitor service or software, and employee separation of duties. Please read the report to get the details of both the Target security failures and the recommendation for our company. Thank you.